The Tyranids are coming. Hi, welcome to the channel. My video about how to start collecting Tyranids in 9th is still one of the most watched videos on my channel so far, but I think it's now time to give it a refresh for 10th edition. In this video I'm going to talk about building a Tyranid army, the things you need to think about, the types of models you should be buying, and how you can play them. Some things to consider. Shopping at independent retailers for 10 to 20% discounts is really worth it. Shout out to my local store Alchemist Workshop in the UK. When you're deciding to buy models, remember the rule of cool should always win. Buy what you like and not what's currently strongest, as this will change, sometimes very rapidly. With Tyranids you can have lots of ways to play, whether that's big monsters, a horde army, or a mixture of both. 10th edition is favouring shooting at the moment, so you have the choice of shooting or melee to add into the mix. If you really want to just build a competitive list for Tyranids, then this video probably isn't what you're looking for, but check out my playlist for Tyranids, as there's loads of other content there that might help. And if you want to play a horde army, don't be scared of buying second-hand models, as it gets you moving and you can always repaint them in the future anyway. Stripping and repainting really isn't that difficult. So starting off, we're in a good place for starting costs with an army in 10th, as all the rules are freely available to download. So that's the core rules, points, and of course the Tyranid index. The complexity of the faction has also been reduced. Each unit has a data sheet and there are minimal army-wide rules and strats that you need to remember. Also, building an army is really open. You only really need 1 HQ and then a max of 3 of any other unit, except battle line, which are your troops. Where to start? The obvious place people will start is with the Leviathan box set, or at least the Tyranid half of it. If you want the models, then it's a very good discount built in. Being part of the launch box set, the Tyranids get a lot of models, and they're all new models or new sculpts, and they are massively discounted. That said, the box isn't cheap even at independent retailers. I paid £120 in the UK, so if you only want the Tyranid side, that's something to think about. You may also struggle to get one if you've missed out. The next question is whether it's worth buying 2 halves of the box to double up on the Tyranids. It is a very good deal and be very tempted. There aren't many bad duplicates from doubling up. Perhaps the Winged Prime and Neura Tyrants, you don't need 2, but that's about it. There's also the Combat Patrol, the standard way to buy a box set for a faction. This in itself is also a gameplay mode for 500 points. And the current box set is about 33% saving for all the models, but is being replaced soon. The one you can still buy leans heavily into 1 troops option, which essentially is 3 boxes giving 36 models, and they're also the old Termagon sculpts. There's a new Combat Patrol set to come out that will be from the Leviathan half. If you can find a copy and want to start somewhere smaller, then there's the Boarding Patrol box, £60 in the UK from independent retailers, and considering what you get in the box, it's about 40% saving on buying the models. It's a fun selection to be honest, and that's about it. And the key question, what to buy next? I'll assume at this point you have the Leviathan box set or the new Combat Patrol when it's released and that has the same models. Let's start with everyone's favourite main staple unit, the Hive Tyrant. Built as a walking, winged or Swarmlord version. These are great and you can take a few of them, so perhaps you want 2. Be creative with Magnetizer perhaps, at least for the weapon options. They're not necessarily cheap kits to buy if you want all 3. You need a tank bug, something big, scary with board presence. There are 2 main flavours, the shooty one, the Tyrannofex, and the melee one that works well with Termagant swarms, the Tervigon. They're the same kit and hard to magnetise, so you'll most likely need 2 boxes to have both of these units. You'll also need more shooting. As mentioned, 10th edition is favouring shooting, and it's not typically a strength for Tyranids. A Tyrannofex is your staple, but then what else? Well, the Zoanthropes have strangely moved to be a shooting unit this edition. Partly because its focused psychic attack at strength 12, -3 AP and d6 +1 damage isn't hazardous, so there's no danger to firing it. It's also auto-wounding on 6s to hit, and the models are silly cheap at 30 points each, and it's a really efficient price for that type of gun. So Zoanthropes are one of the most cost-effective ways of having good shooting in your army. Definitely buy a box of 3 for any list. What not to buy now? I'd start with one of my favourite units, Genestealers. These sculpts are old and there's been so much chat about new sculpts. Quite likely when the Codex comes out we'll get them. Also at the moment they're priced as squads of 5 or 10 models but sold in boxes of 8, which is weird. If you want them, then find a deal on eBay, I'm sure they'll be very cheap. They aren't winning competitive games for you at the moment anyway. Hold on buying the Hormagaunts. The Termagants got a refresh, so stands to reason the Hormagaunts will soon, perhaps also at the release of the Codex. And then anything Finecast. GW will be replacing anything that's Finecast eventually, so that includes Lictors, Pyrovores, Biovores. You can use the Von Ryan Leapers kit for the Lictor, but otherwise just wait. The essential thing is to have fun building your army, try some combos and adapt the things you play with, but always remember that the rule of cool should always win. See you soon, bye!